Hello Virgo, welcome to the Plaid Sheep Oracle. I'm recording this reading on Sunday, August 18th to come out on the 19th. And I was really sure that Aquarius would come out. But now I see your coming out makes much more sense. And then Aquarius he might even come out last. Perhaps. Because we also have Taurus and Capricorn. I was interested to see how the earth signs didn't want to come out. And I think that you were all waiting for this moment, that the earth energy was waiting for these days right around this full moon. I do these readings with the intention of them being timeless. So if you showed up 2 years from now, you could find something of use in the reading. But they are also inextricably linked to the time when I record them. And we are about to have this amazing full moon. The full moon in Aquarius, square Uranus, and the sun is conjunct Mercury and Vesta. And then I discovered yesterday, by watching a little something about the moon, and the astrologer was talking about how a possible inspiration for Aquarius, the water bearer, is Ganymede, who was this human who had been elevated to Olympus, and he was, the wine carrier for the gods. And so, of course, I had to go see, and indeed, asteroid Ganymede is within about 3 degrees of the moon in Aquarius at the time of the full moon. And then we have the other, what I think of as a grand cross, or I'm sorry, this is a grand cross because Pallas Athene is across the way in Scorpio. And then there's another T-square, which is Venus in Virgo, Jupiter in Gemini, and Saturn in Pisces. And then Ceres is square the nodes. And these may all actually be asteroid grand cross situations. I haven't looked to see if there's anybody in Sagittarius, at mid-Sagittarius, to complete that cross, or somebody in Cancer, around 7 degrees of Cancer, to complete that cross. But there is an enormous amount of energy, especially energy for change and movement. So it makes absolute sense that all of the earth signs would kind of group themselves around this event to provide stability energetically. We begin with Flosa, first blood. A rite of passage into fertility, fluidity, and creative potential, shifting in a divine moment, synchronizing blood to the cosmic cycles, stepping towards the moon magic of life, womb flow from the sacral seat, the bloodlines through time that give form to life, to be in tune and lose count of the structures that hinder mystical progress, opposing Saturn in Pisces. To accept and not question, to release resistance and be 13 moons frequency. I would also say, this first blood is right here talking about the menstrual cycle. But there is also a different kind of first blood, often that is to do with men's mysteries, of being blooded, of, completing a heroic task. Right? The first blood of the first kill. The visible underlying is Ak, Oak, support. And below that, the fair, the fire, life, sacred fires bind to you, weaving new knowledge between your cells, through your cells, igniting and relighting the life that felt lost. And then the underlying that can't be seen is Ripyen, to ripen, to mature. Right? To become, we must all grow generously wise. So here is this moment. And if you follow astrology, or you've been floating around in the spiritual sphere, you know that there are all kinds of predictions, and there's a lot of talk about this moment in time, this set of astrological aspects and transits. So one could, right, you could become confused, even panicked. I've seen, comments and threads of people who, sort of plan to hide under the covers until sometime next week. And I say that that is not the advice here. Never the advice on this channel, actually, to hide from a transit or an aspect. So the first underlying is, not surprisingly, the Eight of Cups. And in this particular deck, with this craftsman, working on his emotional well-being, he's got all the planets here behind him, the way, how they affect his feeling. But he is focused, right, on his work. Below that, we have the Eight of Swords, which is a possibility, right? You could be feeling this way. Quite possibly. It's intense. I have a friend who had the other night a whole night full of very vivid dreams. Stories of disturbed sleep. I myself have been sort of headachy the last couple of days, feeling a little wrung out. So one could have this feeling. But right below that is the Magician. The invitation. And I want to say Mercury's invitation, right? He's in on this and he's moving retrograde. The possibilities of reviewing things, of making changes, of releasing through his cycle of forward, back, and forward again. The bottom of the deck has the Queen of Swords, also not surprisingly. Clarity and discernment. Do not panic. You have what you need in this moment. You just have to keep your head. So then we have the Devil, all those things. Anything that's been weighing you down, shadowing you, hanging onto your ankle, popping up here and there just when you thought that it was gone. Now is the moment. We have the Knight of Cups setting out. He has his cup. He has his focus, right? He has finished crafting his cup, and now he's ready to go. He knows what it is that he wants. He knows how he wants to feel. He knows what feels good to him. So he's ready to meet the challenge of this Five of Wands. And for sure, this moment is a Five of Wands moment. Both because there is a sense of conflict, certainly. If you pay attention to the news, you've been feeling the conflict. But there's also this sense of the creational space. My feeling that the Five of Wands, while it can feel like chaos, chaos is the creational quantum space. And that it is chaos kind of only from our human perspective. From the perspective of source and your own wider self, it's just the womb, right? It's or the right, the matter of creation waiting to be formed. There's nothing to fear. So when you get through that, you reach kingship. Right? You go from the knight to the king. With this heart hovering over your cup, visible to others. Virgo can keep things close to the vest, I think. There is something very contained about Virgo. Virgo is not a flashy sort of energy. It's not a rush about sort of energy, even though it's a mutable sign. That earth quality, that sense of good judgment is present. So maybe that you have not allowed people to see your very tender heart. I think there's also a little bit of protectiveness to Virgo, to the self. Because Virgo does pay attention often to what is happening in the world, to want to be of service, there is a sense of protectiveness, I think, right? You see what's happening out there, and so you feel perhaps like you need to protect your tender heart. But now it will be, right, you will feel much more confident to show that heart to other people. And so then we have the Tower. I knew it had to come out. It is a tower. Stuff is going to happen. It might not be, some stuff I think will happen immediately, within days or even hours of the moon, of the full moon. And then later within hours of the T-square between Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn, and then the exact square of Jupiter and Saturn later. But other things may take time to unroll. With Pallas Athene, who's about strategy, about intellectual problem solving. Also about creating the thing until it's pretty complete, like Athena coming complete from the head of Zeus. Some things may take time. She's going to move into a tighter opposition to Uranus through this week and the next. But there are going to be changes. The bottom of the deck is the Seven of Pentacles. Now this is Taurus energy, traditionally. Stability, doing what you do, all the things that you do on a regular basis that are sort of second nature in some ways, the ways that you take care of yourself. You have all of that. You have all of these earthy Virgo skills available. And maybe you've been consciously or unconsciously planning for this moment in some way. Maybe you've been collecting something. Or there's also a sense too with the Seven of a ripening. That you've been perhaps, you've been collecting some of the harvest, but you are aware that the biggest portion is yet to come. Below the tower, we have the Ace of Cups. That personal grail that you carry at your heart. And here you're going to drink deep of it, and have been perhaps drinking deep. And below her is the Magician again. And I'm just seeing below him the King of Cups. Oh, and then the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Swords. And I'm actually going to go one more to the King of Pentacles, who is a Taurus energy, as well as, earthy, and also death. So there is, right, there's this sense that there is kind of a process, right? There's this Ace of Cups, then there's the Magician, the King of Cups, the Ace of Wands, the Ace of Swords. That there is this tower, but there's also going to be stuff that unfolds over the next weeks and months and even years. So then we have the Queen of Pentacles and the Queen of Wands. An energy of receptivity, as well as inspiration, but really in embodying these things. Really leaning in to that Virgo earthy energy now. You are guided by Mercury, and he's in Leo at the moment. So there's some fire going on. There's all of this stuff happening in the heavens. The planets all having a discussion and talking to each other and spreading this energy of change and shifts. And so to really lean in to the earthy aspect, to be able to hold, right, for this Queen of Pentacles, to provide support for this Queen of Wands, for them to really work together. Because the Knight of Swords is on his way. Whatever this change is, it does have a herald. It does have new information, insight, messages from actual people that are going to be part of this. So to be ready, to be well grounded to receive this, because then you can take advantage. You can meet it fully, openly, without fear. You can meet it publicly. You can let others see the change within you and any changes that you've made to your life. that this preparation that you're so good at, Virgo, is important. And then we have Wish Upon a Star. I love this card. And below that, if we weren't sure, we have Bearing Fruit. And then we have this card that says it is what it is, but for me, it's almost always just this door that's going to open. A door that perhaps has been closed, or maybe it's, you know, sometimes it's a little bit ajar, but every time you get there, it closes again. You know, that's making me think of a scene from a book called The Bridge of Birds by Barry Huggart. And in it, there's a story about two ghosts who are trapped in this kind of story because they're both murdered, and so they weren't, you know, their story was cut off. And in one of them, the woman is dancing and she's trying to reach a door before it closes, but she can never get there because she's trapped by the dance and the rhythm of the dance. So the other characters in the story, they involve themselves. They kind of join the dance. And by doing so, they break this spell. And she is able to get through the door to meet her lover, who is the other half of this. So this transit is like these characters who are going to break the rhythm. And this is kind of borne out by this card at the bottom, in perfect harmony. Actually, to break this harmony, to break some sort of chain, some sort of, you know, self-imposed contract that you and all of us have been carrying around. And then it says, let it go. Yeah. A powerful move, right, that you can make after you let it go. And then this card, which I knew was going to come out. It was on the top of the deck when the deck chose itself. And I thought that it would come out, broken open. This kind of completion of something. Something that maybe you've been carrying around for a really long time. And not to no purpose. But now these energies are going to allow you to break open. And this sort of King of Cups, this Six of Wands, this broken open, feel like a set. That they are describing this transformation, this new space, what will happen when you get through the door. So then we have the Two of Swords, which is just the choice that we always have. Below this we have both the Herald or the Page of Wands. It's a little dark. Can we make it lighter? I don't know. It's a little bit of a dark card. But she has this ecstatic look on her face. It makes me think of the Bernini sculpture of Saint Teresa on fire, where she is, right, she's pierced with the fire, the passion of God. And then below her is the Knight of Wands. We're having a very rainy day here. It's rather dark. he too, I don't know if you can see it in his, probably in the camera, but he looks, right, he's seeing, there's this light on his face. Well, maybe if we bring you up close, we'll see her face too, right? This light on the face. I almost want to say that it's this light coming out of you that is lighting up your face. And maybe the faces of people around you. The Ace of Cups on the bottom. And so the choice is the Ten of Wands. To drop the stuff. To embrace this Two of Cups with this, right? And then the Queen of Pentacles. To be this, right? To be Virgo as the Queen of Pentacles. Right, again, this, right, this lineup of King of Cups, Six of Wands broken open, and this Queen of Pentacles. Formal advice. Not surprised to see it. The Ace of Wands. And below that, the Nine of Cups. Look at that. It's coming. Open your mouth to receive it. And then Strength, Leo energy. And then the Fool, rushing into the joyous newness of it. Then the Eight of Pentacles, this very Capricorn-y thing going here. Of follow through that you're so good at. And then I'm going to go one more with the Ace of Pentacles. So I think this completes the aces. We've had the Cup, the Wands, the Sword, and now the Ace, or the Pentacles. So all the aces, the Ace of Cups twice, the Ace of Wands twice, the Fool, the Knight of Wands, the bottom is the source of water. So this cup, Grail energy, that inner source that is connected to the greater source of all that is. Well, here you are. In this moment, there's all these torches lit. You're thinking about what you should do. You've sort of got one in your hand. Do you want to jump down and join the others? Do you want to join your fire? So Knight of Wands repeating, Scout of Fire. So the understanding that you are not, right, you're not in danger here. Any feeling of alarm is old news, is all the programming that you're going to let go of. Right, you're going to let go of it all. You're going to get through the door. You're going to drop the wands. And you're going to see that you are the Scout of Fire. And from there, that you are the Emperor. That you can rush in. Right? Emperor and Fool. Aries energy. The North Node. And Chiron. The healing of Aries, the healing of any shame around a love of fire, And then finally, this extra card in the deck. Right? This feeling of coming home, of really meeting yourself, of really being able to combine the spiritual self and the physical earthly self in a really well-balanced way where there's no shame around either. Because there can be, right? There can be shame in either direction. There can be this idea that only the spiritual is clean, that everything down here on the earth is sort of, if not exactly evil, it's kind of, heavy, right? We think of this as a heavy, right? The 3D is heavy. That's something you hear in spiritual circles. Fie on that. And whatever it rode in on. This is you knowing that, right, that source, right, that you are integral. You are necessary. You are so loved, adored, respected, admired. Seen. Right? You make all of this possible for Source. And sometimes, if one is, raised in a very practical environment, one can be ashamed of any woo thinking that one might have. Right? That one is supposed to pay attention to what is happening here and now. You have to be realistic. You have to deal with things in a forceful, earth-based, Newtonian way. Right? Anything else is just magical thinking and bypassing and escaping and all of these things. So whichever end of that or both that you got going, lose that. And I think that you will, Virgo. And so hopefully will we all. I'm sort of feeling like pulling some extra cards. I don't know quite what that's about, but we're going to do it. Oh. The Aquarius card, the King of Swords, coming out in the visible underlying, pairing off with that Queen. Oh yes, of course. The Eight of Wands, which has been repeating itself repeatedly over and over in these last couple of weeks. Incoming fast energy. Oh, then we have the Four of Wands, fun, joy, celebration, celebrating with others. The Five of Cups, and here especially, right, this bowl has been spilled. She spilled the bowl deliberately and let all of that run down and away from her. She's just emptied all of the cups, except her own, right? Her own cup is the only one she's keeping. And then the Six of Wands repeating. Yay! So I say to you, Virgo, do not fear. Celebrate. Embrace this energy. Open your arms and welcome it. Rush into it in whatever way suits you. I think we have, we have a fear, I think, in our society of these big energies, because so often they're linked, at least, sort of in the press or elsewhere, with terrible happenings. But it doesn't have to be so. I'm thinking back now to 1989 when Saturn and Neptune met in Capricorn, two big energies that have theoretically differing agendas, right? Saturn to hold things up and Neptune to kind of dissolve things. And what did we get? Was the Berlin Wall coming down. Nelson Mandela released from prison post that conjunction. Now, maybe there were other things that were not so great, but we're not going to talk about them. We are not going to repeat that. We are embracing all of the goodness, all of the positive, gorgeous, expansive, amazing, imaginative, loving, beautiful, compassionate, tender changes that can come out of this set of energies that we have with this full moon. So I wish you, Virgo, I wish you all the very, very best. And I hope that you will take every advantage of this amazing energy that is coming. I'll see you next time. So long, Virgo.